What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of VDK Sports Talk. I'm your host, Alex Cruz, and boy, oh boy, do we have some things to talk about in today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Mets are going to be headlining this episode. What? They ended up pulling out a tough, gritty win against the Atlanta Braves yesterday, and this game had moments that truly signify the totality of this New York Mets season. As all of you know, I've been very adamant on this channel that the New York Mets all of the nonsense that happened in the offseason has bled into this season. You had a shitty offseason, all the way from the top down, and you're now having a shitty baseball season. And ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought the New York Mets could be put out of their misery, they go into Atlanta in a 4-game series. They end up splitting with the number one team in the NL East. The New York Mets just cannot go out. They just cannot end this season. They just decide, you know what? We're going to keep the status quo. Every time we take 2 or 3 steps forward, we're going to respond by taking 7 steps back. And that is the story of our New York Mets this season. And yesterday, they ended up pulling a tough, gritty win against the Atlanta Braves. And they end up beating them by a score of 7-6. And we have some things to talk about, some comments by the fan in regards to a Francisco Lindor trade. We're going to talk about the Devin Williams meltdown. Because, oh, man, I'm just getting sick and tired of dealing with him, man, 100%. We're then going to get into some of the things that were finalized with our New York Knicks yesterday, our free agent signings, further solidifying that Leon Rose is that dude. Some of these contracts are, man, shout out to Leon Rose for being able to wheel and deal at the level that he is. And I'm further going to be supporting the case that I made yesterday, that Leon Rose is the best GM in the game. You don't like it, go argue with your moms. We're then going to get into some of the World Cup coverage. As all of you know, Team USA, they lost yesterday. They actually got belt to ass by Belgium and lost 4-1. But I wanted to take some time out, and not a lot of time, but I just wanted to show respect to Ronaldo, man. You know, unfortunately, Portugal wasn't able to go all the way. It was going to be his last World Cup, and man, I just had some comments that I wanted to get into in this video. We'll then wrap that up with the Ayo Moment segment, and this episode today has to be quick rapid fire, you guys. So let's get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold up. Let's pull this up right now. Sorry, you guys. Let's pull this bad boy up. So before we get into the stats, I have some plays on here. Well, let's get this out of here. I have some plays on here that truly signify what this New York Mets season has been about. Now, this play right here we're going to play. Let's put the volume up. This is from us playing against the Toronto Blue Jays. And this is, it's funny because I don't want to laugh, but they both of these plays simultaneously. Well, the ones that I have back-to-back, they both come when Sean Manaea is on the mound. Ridiculous. So this is the inside the park home run by George Springer. Look at this play by Soto. And obviously, I reacted to this last week. But look at this. Not jogging. A.J. Ewing playing cornhole. And that's it. So, that happened last week. It can't happen again, right? The New York Mets, they can't do this to us again, right? Early on in this series against the Atlanta Braves, here we are. This is by Mets Empire. Look. Now, as all of you guys know, I've repeated this ad nauseum. I am tired of the Milwaukee Brewers guys. I'm tired of the David Stearns guys. I'm tired of Tyrone Taylor. I was about to say Tyrod Taylor. Get Tyrone Taylor up and out of here. I've had enough. Yes, he's had some moments. Yes, he's had some big hits. But I've had enough. I'm tired of these analytic guys. I've just had enough of it. Enough, David Stearns. Get him out of here. But you had that happen early on in the series against the Braves, right? But then you followed that up with this moment yesterday. You're down 3-2 in the 9th inning. And your all-star Juan Soto comes up to bat. Look at this. Fuck out of here. Get it out of here. Disrespectful coming in. Inside with a fastball. Disrespectful. Listen, this is the biggest home run that the New York Mets have hit It's just a home run Taylor hit against the Yankees, and I know I just fried him, but I've had enough of him. Hey, listen. Fans screaming, let's go Mets, but man, I don't know, bro. Look at that. See, let's break down this at bat again. So the closer's on the mound, obviously. The goal is to go inside. Now, I want to say the goal with this pitch right here is you want to go up and in, okay? And unfortunately, it stays towards the middle of the plate in terms of the middle height-wise. And because he didn't go up and in and it wasn't high enough, you get the result that happened, which was a turn and burn on the upper 90s fastball. Let's play it again.
3-1 coming.
Oh, man. Get out of here, dog. I just saw it like that because I play baseball, so you know, when you have those competitive juices flowing, that's how it be sometimes. But you guys, just when you think, whoa, they got the big hit. No. Let's pull it up right now. No. I can't do this today. We have to show everything. You then follow that up just like this. Let's play it.
Number 1. Deep to left. How far will she go?
Ladies and gentlemen, what else is there to talk about with Devin Williams? I came on here and I told you guys that Devin Williams, he showed his true colors last year with the New York Yankees. He has not been the same closer that he was in Milwaukee. The Pete Alonso home run, for whatever reason, has truly, in my opinion, broken who Devin Williams was. Might be a confidence issue. There's something wrong in the psyche of Devin Williams, because the way he has pitched over the course of the last 2 years, there's moments where he looks absolutely filthy, and then there's moments where he's absolutely brutal. You know, I said this to a buddy of mine, and Devin Williams, in my opinion, this is just me, watching him pitch is like being in a relationship with a toxic-ass woman. 1 minute, they're extremely happy on an ultimate high, and the next minute, they want to put you in a chokehold and they're screaming at you because you didn't do something around the home or because you didn't do something that they wanted, which was very small. They end up blowing up. And in real time with Devin Williams, he could go from in the same inning looking absolutely unhittable with that changeup breaking and looking absolutely fantastic. Him being able to spot up and look unhittable and look like one of the best closers in the game. But in the same inning with Devin Williams, just as quickly as he looks like he's amazing, is as quick as he could turn into being an absolutely horrible pitcher, where he looks like he doesn't even belong in MLB. He goes from being able to command his changeup, being able to command his fastball by getting the first out or maybe the first 2 outs, striking out the first 2 batters, and then he can hit the strike zone. Work for nothing after that. And then he grooves fastballs right down the middle. It is by far the most Jekyll Hyde thing that I have seen with Devin Williams. And that is why I didn't want him to be a New York Met to begin with. Now, he has had moments this season where he was able to get the job done. But let's cut straight to the chase on Devin Williams, man. Every time he is in the game, whether the Mets have a good season or a bad season, it doesn't matter. Every time he's on the mound, you're at the edge of your seat saying, is this dude about to blow it? And I know we used to get that at times with Edwin Diaz. But this guy, I've had enough. I wish we could trade him at the deadline, but nobody's going to take on that contract. And ladies and gentlemen, that was your GM. Not my GM, because I don't fuck with David Stearns. He doesn't belong operating the front office of the New York Mets. I'm just going to be honest with you. That dude is the one who decided to give him 3 years at $16 million annually. Play it again.
Number 1. Deep to left. How far will she go?
You know what's the craziest part about that is that I think that was Devin Williams' second blown save this year. So he only has 2 blown saves before the All-Star break, which is crazy for a closer who has a 4.85 ERA. 4.85, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Let's get into some stats from yesterday's game. So the New York Mets, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, beat the Braves by a score of 7-6. They ended up putting up 11 hits compared to the Atlanta Braves' 13 hits. They ended up committing an error. You know, what else is new? A.J. Ewing went 0 for 4. Juan Soto went 1 for 2 with the big 3-run home run late to put them ahead in the ninth inning. Bo Bichette had a good showing, 2 for 5. His average is now up to 260. Bo Bichette has been really, really good. And to be honest with you guys, like I've been very adamant on saying on this channel, I might have been saying this ad nauseum. I believe that Bo Bichette is going to get traded at the deadline because I firmly believe he's going to opt out of his contract with the New York Mets because he's not going to want to be here going into next season. But that is a season with a potential strike about to happen. So we'll definitely see what happens with, Bo Bichette's future here. Francisco Lindor ended up going 0 for 5, ended up striking out once. His average is now down to 216. Carson Bench ended up going 2 for 4. He ended up hitting a home run. Carson Bench has been sensational this year. His average is now up to 258, and he's been really, really good. We'll pull up his stats from this season because I am curious to the numbers. He's batting 258 right now with 11 home runs, 35 RBIs. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a core piece to the New York Mets outfield going forward. And it really is remarkable, right? If you think about from a talent perspective, what the New York Mets could have had at their disposal right now. If they do not make the trade where they trade PCA for Javi Baez a couple of years ago, the New York Mets right now, hypothetically, would have an outfield that would have PCA, Carson Bench, and Juan Soto. Think about how drastically different that will look for the New York Mets right now. But again, at that time, different management, different front office, leadership. But that just goes to show you how even our scouting department and even our guys that we've hired just don't have a good feel for baseball. But we'll follow that up. We'll pick up with Jarrett Young. Jarrett Young ended up going 1 for 4. His average is now down to 224. Francisco Alvarez had a good showing yesterday. Ended up going 2 for 4. Had an RBI. His average is now up to 251. And Francisco Alvarez, for somebody who was injured this year, batting 251, has 9 home runs, 20 RBIs on the season. Not bad. And there was a rumor that came out about Francisco Alvarez that if they were to trade him, that they would be able to get back some MLB-ready prospects for his services. So do they elect to trade Francisco Alvarez? I'm going to say at this point right now, no, because Francisco Alvarez's ceiling as a catcher, he could give you north of 20, 25 home runs. He just needs to stay healthy first and foremost to be able to fulfill what his ceiling could be. And he's already shown it before in his career that he could hit over 20 home runs. Tyrone Taylor, as all of you know, I've had enough of him. He came in as a pinch runner. Luis Torrens ended up pitch hitting for him, had the big hit in the 10th inning yesterday. A double, go-ahead double, 2-run double. Man, what an at-bat. And it was a tough, gritty at-bat, too. Tough, gritty at-bat. And Murphy ends up hitting a batter, leading to Luis Torrens to come up and being able to put the New York Mets out in front. But again, just when you get the highest of highs, you get the Soto 3-run home run, you get the Luis Torrens go-ahead 2-run double, you follow that up with the game-time home run by Matt Olson, and then Luke Weaver, the best reliever, one of the best relievers in the MLB over the course of the last 2 months, hasn't given up a run in 2 months, comes into the game right away. RBI single. And here we go. Just like every game that we have endured throughout this New York Mets season, you get the good moments followed up by the bad moments. And the shifts happen so quickly with the New York Mets. It really is ridiculous. And boy, oh boy, did the New York Mets pull out a tough one. Brett Beatty will round out the lineup. Brett Beatty ended up going 1 for 5, struck out 3 times. As all of you know, I've been very adamant on this. Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, they all need new starts. I think I'm done with them here. I'm done with Ronnie Mauricio, too. He went 1 for 4. His average is now down to 180. I've had enough of Mauricio, too. Get him out of here. Build around new players, a new core. Call up Clifford, call up Wendinger, call up all of your young guys. See what you got. And trade off some of your stars, some of your key contributors on a horrible team and get back MLB-ready prospects to see where you are. Coming into this game, Freddie Peralta has been heavily criticized. His ERA is at 4.68. Well, going into yesterday, it was 4.68. And Freddie Peralta was supposed to be our ace. He was supposed to be our Paul Skeens, our Tariq Skubal, a pitcher who notoriously was really, really good for the Milwaukee Brewers. But he has came here and severely underperformed. And he had a lot of eyes on him. Because most importantly, if you're not going to re-sign with us, and we already know that that's the case, the New York Mets do not want to give him 8 years. Freddie Peralta, you need him to look somewhat effective so that you can get max return on his services when you deal him at the deadline. And Freddie Peralta yesterday ended up going 4 2/3 inning, allowed 6 hits, allowed 1 earned run, 3 runs, walked 1, struck out 6. His ERA, like I said earlier, 4.68. You then got into him getting relieved by Perez. He went an inning in the third, allowed 1 hit, struck out 3. Mentor, who has been absolutely sensational since he has came back off the injured list, ended up going another inning. He allowed 2 hits, struck out 1. His ERA is now down to 0.56. And I'm telling you guys right now, Mentor's on the block, Weaver's on the block, Freddie Peralta's on the block, Brazaban is on the block, Bichette is on the block. Everybody in their moms, not named Ewing, McLean, Benj, and Soto, they on the block right now. And as much as all of you know, I've been very defensive of, that's the word I'm looking for. Very defensive of Francisco Lindor, and I have taken his side ad nauseum. I believe you have to entertain trading him, depending on the hole you could get back for him. Because where are we getting at with this team? How quickly do you believe that David Stearns could turn this into a winner? Because I have no faith that he can even do so. But let's talk about that, you guys. Let's talk about it in the comments. Zuniga ended up getting on the mound, threw pretty well. Went an inning, struck out 1, walked 1. Devin Williams, blown save. Shout out to Brooks Bailey for covering his ass. Pause. Because, man, Devin Williams has just been brutal to watch at times this year. Luke Weaver ends up closing out the deal. Goes an inning, allows 1 hit, 1 run. That's obviously the phantom runner. He walks 2, strikes out 1. His ERA is now down to 1.89. Shout out to Luke Weaver for being absolutely sensational. And I do believe he gets dealt at the trade deadline. And the New York Mets, ladies and gentlemen, they end up splitting this series against the Atlanta Braves. They are now, 15 games under 500, 15 games back in the division. Let's pull up the wild card because, we got to do this every time we cover the Mets. They're 11 games back in the wild card right now. And a report came out, a rumor had came out that the New York Mets do not intend to be sellers like we think at the trade deadline. And I'm going to sit here and tell you guys this. That would be a massive mistake for the New York Mets to go into this trade deadline with that type of a mindset. Clear house, man. Get them out of here. You were willing to rip the walls all the way down to the studs this past offseason. We've had enough. I've had enough. Tear it all the way down, man. Get some prospects in here. Build up that farm system. And to be honest with you, at this point, I would rather prefer the New York Mets to lose a lot more than win because their odds at getting the number 1 pick, they skyrocket. I want to say right now, I think their odds, they have a 72% chance to get, a top 6 pick, I believe. Man, I am not pushing to win this season. I'm not going to lie to you guys. For the farm system, their development, just sell. You should have no issue bringing in free agents here. But I just don't have faith in the top guy, David Stearns, to be able to get the job done, in my opinion. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think about the New York Mets, man. That's going to wrap up the coverage from yesterday's game. And we're going to get into some comments, man, on the fan. And this was by my man's Boomer Esiason. And I do agree with what he's saying here.
Bigger mistake.
Let's play it for you guys.
Has been, and I thought it at the time, and it's been proven true, they didn't replace an everyday run-producing first baseman with anything.
Who was actually...
You watched Mark Vientos yesterday. Get him off first base. Stop the... He's awful over there.
David Stearns came on this radio station. I'd say, how's the run prevention going?
Oh, God. We don't prevent anything.
And you don't have to be an...
The run prevention was for the offense. It was for us to not put up runs. That's what it was. I knew it. I knew that run prevention bullshit. I knew something was there. It was, we let go of a 40 home run, 120 RBI hitter, right, who plays the majority of the games. I want to say he's always played over 150 games. We're going to let go of that guy, a homegrown guy within the franchise, okay, to provide context and perspective. A player that you've developed, a power hitter that you've developed that has had tremendous success with the New York Mets, your all-time home run leader, you let him go for nothing to replace him with let's finish this out.
Anybody who's played baseball understands this. And they put a guy over there, give him credit. I give Mark Vientos credit for trying to do it. They're trying. It's not the player's fault. Again, the player is being mishandled and mismanaged.
I agree.
So
I totally agree.
You can't get the best out of the player if the player is playing out of position and is uncomfortable playing out of position.
You know how many games the Orioles have played this year? The Orioles have not had a great season, so I'm not saying that, but you know how many games they've played?
They probably play, about 86?
They played 91 games.
91.
They are 42 and 49.
And how many
games Pete Alonso's played this year?
Every single game.
91 games.
Yeah.
You know what Pete Alonso does every single damn year? He plays 150 games every single year.
But that's not in the analytics.
Stick the analytics where the sun goes.
Think about a guy who plays every single game and shows up, and think about the guys who they brought in to replace these people. Guys who have been oft injured, guys who have a history of being injured. They must not plug that into the analytic table or something.
I guess not.
And as all of you know, I've spoken about this ad nauseum with the analytics. The analytics killed this game. And to be honest with you, I think I actually pulled up the wrong clip just now. Well, it was supposed to be 2 clips. I was going to pull up the Francisco Lindor clip. So let me see if I can actually YouTube it right now. So let's see if we can pull up that Francisco Lindor clip. Let me know in the comments what you think about that comment by Boomer Esiason in regards to Pete Alonso. You know, as all of you know, I've been very adamant on this, that the New York Mets absolutely blew their window when they decided to let go of Pete Alonso. And I've been very consistent on this channel with saying that that was a humongous mistake to let him go. I was okay with letting Nimmo go. I was okay with letting Marte go. I was even slightly okay with you letting Diaz go. And I was okay with some of the decisions that you had made. But the one player you needed to keep in the Mets uniform was Pete Alonso. And David Stearns did him absolutely dirty with how he operated in terms of the negotiations between Alonso and the franchise over the last couple of seasons. Pete Alonso was desperately trying to get paid, and you did him dirty time in and time out because you felt he wasn't great defensively, so you felt he wasn't a player worth giving a contract to. Now, how has that turned out? Pete Alonso has been fantastic for the Orioles. Now, they're not having a great year. They're 7 games under 500. But Pete Alonso has been really, really good for the Baltimore Orioles. Let's pull this bad boy up right now.
He's got, 5 years left on his contract after this year, I think?
Yeah.
So it's essentially 5.5. So finding a suitor is not going to be easy with the amount of money
Facts.
that he makes to the age he makes it to. And, he's starting to come on. He's starting to hit a little bit. But I think with the uncertainty of next year, nobody knows whether or not there's going to be baseball next year. We all believe that there's going to be a lockout. I think there would be people that would want Francisco Lindor.
I do too.
I agree.
And I
agree.
just think it's enough. I feel the same way I felt about when Carmelo Anthony was here with the Knicks.
Ooh, I don't like that comparison.
And the reason I say that is because both are superstars, both are all-stars, both are going to be, maybe Francisco Lindor, if he continues on this path, maybe he'll turn out to be a Hall of Famer someday like Carmelo did. But
Francisco Lindor is a hell of a player.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like whether he should have been the captain, wasn't the captain, isn't the captain, gets along with Soto, doesn't get along with Soto. It's too much. It's too much negativity around the team. And for him, it would probably be a license to go play for a team that has a chance to win a World Series. Because right now, as the Mets are currently constituted, they are so far away from a World Series and a playoff berth that, now it's time for David Stearns to start saying, okay, how do we reset this thing? We have a couple pieces that we like that we can build around. But this to me, I would start by trying to move him if I could. They have to move.
So my question to you guys in the comments, are you looking to trade Lindor this deadline? Obviously, we have next season in which it potentially will be, a season in which you're going to have a strike. You might have a shortened season. You might not have a season at all next year. Do you trade Francisco Lindor? Because if we miss out on the trade window, you're looking at him returning at the age of 35. That's when we will be able to bring back Francisco Lindor. Hey, buddy. Give me a hug. Yeah. Say hello. Ah, puppy. Say hello to YouTube. But that's where we are right now with our New York Mets. Do you elect to trade Lindor or do you keep him? This is a very tough decision. And Boomer Esiason, I know his partner said that it wasn't a good comparison to compare him to Carmelo Anthony, but they are literally the same exact player. Fantastic players, extremely talented players. In Carmelo's case, he was a fantastic scorer. I can make the case for him to be the best scorer ever. A player who had a bag and could get you not even taking a dribble with jump shots, mid-range game, crazy. Post-up work, crazy. Fadeaways, crazy. Three-point shot, crazy. Carmelo Anthony was like that. But just like Lindor, a player can always give you all-star level production. Hit you anywhere between 28 to 35 home runs. Can drive it anywhere between 80 to 100 RBIs on any given season. Bat 260. Play great defense. He's been a Gold Glove winner in his career. Let's Google this right now because I am curious. How many times he's been a Gold Glove winner? Francisco Lindor Gold Glove wins. Let's go. He has won 2 Gold Gloves in his career. And he has been a part of 2 teams that have went on deep postseason runs. The Guardians now, at that time, it was the Indians and the New York Mets in 2024. Just like Carmelo Anthony's career. He had a run where he went to the conference finals with the Denver Nuggets, and they lost to the Lakers. And the New York Mets, compared to, Francisco Lindor, lost to the LA Dodgers. Again, there are some similarities between the two. But just like that tenure, as all of you know, I spoke about that on yesterday's episode, that Carmelo Anthony never lived up to the expectations that we had for him in New York. He was supposed to win us a championship. And unfortunately, it wasn't his fault. Things didn't work out. Again, just like that situation, poor management, dysfunction, right? Remember, the last legs that they had with him, they ended up signing Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah to try and pull out a winner. The New York Mets this year, they let go of Pete Alonso. They let go of, very similar, that team had let go of J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. They traded them to the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you remember correctly. The New York Mets this season let go of Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Sterling Marte, Edwin Diaz, their old core, Jeff McNeil, just like that New York Knicks team did. They were both on their last legs, got rid of their stars, and then tried to build forward with new players, new core. Remember? In Carmelo's case, it was Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. In Francisco Lindor's case, it was Juan Soto, Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco, Luis Roberts Jr. And both didn't work out. Bro, the parallels are absolutely ridiculous. But again, I think it's a fantastic point by Boomer. And as all of you know, I spoke about this yesterday. Do you potentially entertain a trade? And I do believe you have to. Because the New York Mets are nowhere near being able to compete for a World Series right now. They are that shitty. I mean, we'll see how it turns out in the future. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think about that. We're now going to pivot to some of the Knicks news that we had surfaced yesterday. So, as all of you know, in yesterday's episode, I made the case for Leon Rose being the best GM in the NBA. And I wanted to pull this up. This is by Real Knicks Daily on Instagram. And it's to show you how my boy Leon Rose be willing and dealing. Deuce McBride, Mo Diawara, and Andre Drummond, they all are making next season less than $9 million combined. Deuce McBride, Mo Diawara, and Andre Drummond will count less than $9 million combined against the cap and apron next season. That is how good of a GM Leon Rose is. Mo Diawara, the next 3-and-D wing for the New York Knicks, a potential starter in the future if he develops into the player that I think that he can become. Andre Drummond, a very serviceable backup big, who last year, I forget the stat, I completely forgot to save it for you guys to show it to you. But he was top 15 in rebounding percentages. Top 7 on the defensive glass, I believe. I'm going to look to see if I can pull it up on Instagram, and I'm going to save it and show it to you for tomorrow's episode if I'm able to track it down. Because the numbers around Andre Drummond show that they got an absolute steal for a backup big to only be making $3.9 million, the way Andre Drummond will be next season for the New York Knicks. And as all of you know, Deuce McBride, I've spoken about him multiple times on this platform, that Deuce McBride, he's a marksman shooter, great perimeter defender. He is one of those guys that he is a gritty NY player. And unfortunately, I've been speaking about a potential Deuce McBride trade for some time just because as good as he's been, you can't let him walk for free. He's that dang good of a player, but he is also very well deserving of getting more money. And the New York Knicks are not going to be able to give him the type of bread that, he's going to come in on the open market, because Deuce McBride, he's going to get potentially $8 to $10 million a season, especially if he has a great year this year. But now with this news, and obviously Deuce McBride being a part of the future, do you still think he remains a part of this team's future? Right? And we'll pull this up, right? Because this surface, and, Instagram has been going crazy with the DeMar DeRozan being away from the Kings news and them talking about him signing with the New York Knicks. Now, again, another post by Real Knicks Daily. And Justin, DeMar DeRozan waived by the Kings, 6-time All-Star, now among top free agents, all right? DeMar DeRozan would give the Knicks a proven scorer and secondary playmaker who could run the offense when Jalen Brunson rests. He averaged 18.4 points on nearly 50% shooting last season and could be a major upgrade as a six-man. The Knicks are just under $7 million below the second apron. So DeRozan would have to accept a heavily discounted deal to make it work. So here's the deal with DeMar DeRozan, and I spoke about him before. He gives you more of a punch off the bench. Now, in order for you to bring in DeMar DeRozan, because there was also a report that the New York Knicks have more interest in bringing back Clarkson than they do in bringing in DeRozan. If you're going to bring in DeRozan, you have to trade McBride and Dottier, because that opens up the spot for DeRozan to be him, but it also allows you to bring back Jordan Clarkson and get him as part of this team. And if you're going to bring in a player like DeMar DeRozan, understand you're getting a mid-range assassin. He doesn't shoot the three particularly well. And I spoke about this specifically in yesterday's episode, that's my main concern with him, is that he's not a great postseason performer. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that adding DeMar DeRozan is not a huge plus for us. When you have a guy like Landry Shamet off the bench, and once again, we'll speak about the second unit, right? Jose Alvarado, Landry Shamet, potentially DeMar DeRozan. As of right now, you have Deuce McBride, but we're going to anticipate that Deuce McBride gets traded. And this is just for this scenario right here. You would have a second unit that has Alvarado, repeat this again, Alvarado, Shamet, DeMar DeRozan. You would have Mo Diawara and Andre Drummond as your second unit, okay? And then you also have a player like Jordan Clarkson and Tyler Kolek as your depth pieces at that point. And if, let's say hypothetically, OG Anunoby's not having a great game offensively, or he's hurt, and Mikal Bridges is not having a great game, that then opens it up for basically Mike Brown to feel out who's going to finish with the starters. Is it going to be Shamet? Is it going to be DeRozan, who has the hot hand? Yada, yada, yada. But DeMar DeRozan being in this team where you have a stretch five in Karl-Anthony Towns, being able for him to get to his mid-range bag and him, to be able to pass the ball with shooters like Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, it just gives them another layer to their team that could make them that much more deadly, in my opinion. And that's why you entertain bringing in a player like DeMar DeRozan. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Do you want to see the New York Knicks bring in DeMar DeRozan off the buyout market? I'm for sure entertaining it. I didn't want to trade for him, and that was why I was very adamant on, going into the second neighborhood to retain Mitchell Robinson, because I didn't want to trade for a player like DeMar DeRozan. I didn't want them to make any trades. But now that you got him on the buyout market, I think you have to entertain it for sure. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think. We're going to pivot now to the Jordan Clarkson news. So, as all of you know, Jordan Clarkson, I've been really, really high on. I want him back on this New York Knicks team. And there was a report that came out, and there was some comments that came out by Mo Diawara. And it says Jordan Clarkson gave a speech that touched people. Brunson, Cat, OG, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, especially Jordan Clarkson. He's the oldest guy on the team, the vet, and he gave a speech that touched people. In the caption, it says, after the Knicks became the first team in NBA history to lose back-to-back playoff games by 1 point, they found themselves down 2-1 against Atlanta and facing what felt like a must-win game 4. Mohamed Diawara later revealed that several leaders spoke up in the locker room, including Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart, but he especially remembered Jordan Clarkson. Diawara said Clarkson stepped forward as the veteran of the group and delivered a speech that touched people. The Knicks responded with their most complete performance of the series, beating Atlanta 114-98 behind a Karl-Anthony Towns triple-double. New York went on to win the series 4-2, closing it with a historic 140-89 blowout. Insane. I was in Florida watching that in Disney World while that was happening. Clarkson's numbers did not always jump off the page, but moments like this showed why his veteran presence mattered during the Knicks championship run. Bring back Clarkson. I've been very adamant on that. Bring back Clarkson. He's that good of a player, that good of a scorer. Leadership-wise, he's shown to be on another level than I originally thought, and he really is the real deal, man. The real deal. You got to bring him back. Not only does he provide a high-quality depth piece, if Shamet goes down, which we all can anticipate, he struggled remaining healthy at times in his career, you have another player in Jordan Clarkson off the bench who can replace him. And he's one of those players that he remains ready. When his number is called, he's going to perform. All right? He had his moments last season, and I firmly believe that you have to keep Clarkson in this team. You just have to. He looks like a great fit for New York. He really is. He embodies the culture here. And I explained why in yesterday's episode, so I'm not going to get into that. But Jordan Clarkson really is the real deal. And Leon Rose, make it happen, man. We'll next get into Landry Shamet specifics because yesterday the Knicks finalized all of the free agent deals. Knicks re-signed Landry Shamet. Landry's back in New York. This is another post by Real Knicks Daily. His shooting, defensive versatility, and willingness to do whatever the team needs made him an invaluable part of last season's championship process, Leon Rose said. Landry Shamet is officially staying in New York after agreeing to a reported 4-year, $24 million contract with the Knicks. He averaged 9.3 points and 23 minutes per game last season. Shout out to Landry Shamet, man. What a year he had last year. We're going to pull up this right here. And I found this extremely interesting. Now, I came on here and spoke about Leon Rose being the best GM. And obviously, we spoke about the contracts and the players that he got for under $9 million. Deuce McBride, Mo Diawara, and Andre Drummond. But Leon Rose, his ability to communicate with these guys, he helped establish this culture, this winning culture, this sacrificial culture in terms of sacrifice, being able to sacrifice for the greater good of the team. You look at this deal that Mo Diawara got, and I just pulled it up, another post by Real Knicks Daily. Diawara returning to New York. Shams. Mohamed Diawara intends to sign a multi-year deal with the New York Knicks. And obviously we went over that ad nauseum before. His contract is 4 years, $11.2 million. Only first 2 seasons guaranteed. The 2026-27 salary starts at $2.6 million. In the caption, I don't have it pulled up all the way, so it says, Shams Charania initially reported that restricted free agent Mohamed Diawara planned to sign a multi-year deal worth more than $10 million to remain with the Knicks. And these are the specifics of that. To pay a player like Mo Diawara only $2.6 million with his ceiling, man, Leon Rose got himself one, man. As all of you know, we spoke about Mo D multiple times on this channel. His ceiling, his ability to get to the cup, his ability to defend, having his wingspan, his athleticism. Bro, his shooting took a massive jump going into the regular season. And that was his biggest point of contest in the summer league. We know he's extremely athletic. We know he can get to the cup. We know he could defend and move side to side. And the thing is, Mo Diawara is so tall that he can provide you a small ball lineup where he could potentially play the 5. And you get another 5-out system with him in the game. Now, you get this guy, if he's able to develop a mid-range bag, we already know he could get to the cup and he can lay it in because of that wingspan alone. But imagine what Mo Diawara could develop to. If he developed a mid-range game, he developed a move he could go to. Kind of similar to OG Anunoby. Mo Diawara, he's a star in the making, man. And as all of you know, I've been very adamant on this channel about what he's been able to do. And you guys, we're going to wrap up the Knicks talk. I just have to show this graphic to you guys because there's been a lot of people that said that the New York Knicks run is going to be unlikely. A lot of people already say that we're not the favorite to come out of the East and we're not that good of a team. We're just a team that got hot. And I believe that's what Carmelo Anthony said. We're just a team that got hot, right? But he's obviously saying his thoughts, basically what his vibe is amongst players in the NBA. That the Knicks, just got hot. They had it all clicking at the right time, right? But throw some respect on them. I'd pull up this post to show you guys how elite this Knicks team was. There's a post by Basketball Rush on Instagram. Now, it was a tweet by this person named Benham. The Knicks deadass only lost 3 games this entire playoff run, and it was by a combined 6 points. WTF. Y'all still want to sit here and tell me that the New York Knicks didn't find themselves in the postseason? Y'all still want to come here and tell me that the New York Knicks didn't truly see what their ceiling was until Game 4 against Atlanta? Y'all going to sit here and tell me that they didn't find their identity in real time? They showed it in glimpses, but they were able to tap into it in the postseason. And just like I said yesterday, reacting to the Alan Hahn clip, I've been very adamant on this. You guys have yet to see the best basketball of the New York Knicks. Wait till you see how they cook up next year. The New York Knicks have something special. And I'll leave it at that. We're going to round out this video talking about the World Cup, all right, you guys? So yesterday, Portugal ended up losing to Spain by a score of 1-0, and that game was extremely intense, man. It just sucks that Ronaldo had to go out that way. You know, Portugal, they had all the talent in the world. All the talent in the world. But they just could not string it together. You know, and over the course of the tournament, they were just treading water. Like, they were in a lot of games in which it was close, and then they will pull ahead, and they will win late. And Portugal, they have the talent. And Ronaldo was on his last legs. You guys all understood this, that this was his last World Cup, and this was going to be his best opportunity to get the job done. And ladies and gentlemen, he came up short. You know, I just wanted to take some time out to show respect to Ronaldo. All right? Because Ronaldo, to be at the level that he has been consistently throughout the totality of his career, I remember him being one of the best players, if not the best player in the game of soccer when I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school. And to still be one of the best players in the game at his age now is remarkable. You know, a part of me, and I'm just going to be honest with you, a part of me wanted Portugal to win. And the reason why I wanted Portugal to win was because I wanted to see Portugal and Argentina match up in the finals. And now I know that was going to be extremely unlikely, but I just wanted to see it, man, because I felt the game of soccer deserved that. You know, the equivalent to what MJ or LeBron would be what you would be able to get with Ronaldo going up against Messi in the World Cup finals. The NBA was never afforded that opportunity to see MJ go up against prime, you know, Bron. We were never able to see that, okay? So to be able to see these players who are both really, really good at this stage in their careers, to have that opportunity to meet up in the finals, to win a World Cup, would have been absolutely fantastic. That would have been the best storyline. In my opinion, the most watched World Cup game ever. The ticket would have been absolutely astronomical in pricing. And it just sucks that, you know, it went down like this. And now the game of soccer, FIFA World Cup edition, in terms of international play, has claimed two legends, Ronaldo and Neymar. And shout out to what they were able to do for their countries, man. It just sucks that, you know, they didn't have the fairy tale ending that, you know, you had hope for them. But you guys let me know in the comments who you think the favorite is going forward, man. I think that it's crazy, but there's just something about that Norway team, man. I don't know. That dude Haaland is special. And can they go all the way? Or is it going to be France? You guys let me know. It's just something about Norway, man. They're a really good team. We'll wrap this up by talking about the U.S. game in which they got belt to ass by Belgium, lost 4-1. And this play will truly sum up this World Cup and this performance by Team USA, who decided to put up a stinker at the worst possible time. And this truly will define the World Cup for them. And I believe that this was a missed opportunity for them. Let's play it.
Goals that have come off mistakes. I don't know why he hesitated if he felt he was going to get contact from De Ketelaere in the back.
Let's play it again.
Goals that have come off mistakes. I don't know why he hesitated if he felt he was going to get contact from De Ketelaere.
And ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that ended up leading to a goal. That ended up, you know, putting them ahead 3-1. But that is the moment in which you knew Team USA was done. They lost Dosic. I forget how you say his name. They lost him for the game. And in my opinion, he is one of their best players, if not the best player on the team. And you follow that up with that. Well, yeah, that's the chain of events that happened. He ended up getting changed right after that. Something like that. Wow. That's how Team USA's journey ends. Wow. But you give credit to them, man. Give credit to Team USA for making it to the round of 16. I really thought that there was a shot that they could get to the top 8. Now, what they did with it going forward, you never know. But, man, crazy. Crazy, you guys. But we're going to wrap up this episode with our Ayo moment segment. And we got to pull this up, man, because, you know, in this world with AI and all of these robots, I just needed to showcase this bad boy right here. One more time for you guys. I'm laughing now, but wait till they get these bad boys up and moving and they're able to do things effortlessly. But you guys, man, this is just like, yo, what is this, bro? Crazy, man, how technology has gotten. We'll wrap it up by reacting to this. And I just want to react to the beginning portion of this because on this podcast, this is Jeff Teague's podcast. This put me out, and they're talking about the ugliest jump shots ever. Let's go.
Who has the ugly jumper in NBA history?
Bob McAdoo shit was weak.
My man's was crazy.
This shit. Woo.
Listen, I'm taking her up here. They take her up top, guys. Ooh, off the pull up.
Off the pull up.
Oh, that's off the dribble. Oh, okay, y'all 100%. That off the dribble.
What's up, mama? What's up, baby?
Hey, bitch, who trying to go up here with somebody?
No. Play it again.
Bob McAdoo.
Hear what they say. Ooh, they put me out, yeah.
Woo.
Listen, I'm taking her up here. Take her up top,
What's
guys.
up, baby?
Ooh, off the pull up. Oh, that's off the dribble. 100%. That nigga did.
Oh, man. But ladies and gentlemen, that was our AO moment. Funny as heck. Jeff Teague reacted to the ugliest jump shots on his podcast. I believe it's the 504 show, something like that. And man, that's going to wrap up another episode of UDK Sports Talk. That's all I got for you guys. Have a blessed day. We'll catch you guys in the next one. And tomorrow's episode is going to be strictly Rams edition, you guys. Let's get into it. Have a great day, you guys. Peace.